All right, what's up, YouTube? This is BoxingWave, man. And listen, I know I'm a little late with this. I know this topic has been covered already by the last few days. This fight is from Friday evening, okay? But I'm finally getting around to it. I finally watched the fight this morning. And look, man, if I were to truly focus on Tim Bradley's commentary, you would think that Teofimo Lopez got dominated in this fight. Okay, I'm not saying, listen, we all have our own mind, we all have our own opinions. We could all view a fight, and even Teofimo Lopez was harsh on his own performance. I get it. All right. But from what I saw in that fight, no one was exposed, not even in the slightest bit. Teofimo Lopez was not exposed at all. He had a tough fight, tougher than usual. Yes, I understand that no one knows who Nakatani is. I remember when I announced this fight, I said in that video, I'm going to have to go and watch his fights because I've never seen the guy fight before. Okay, but I understand that he doesn't have a name. He doesn't, he's undefeated, but he didn't fight any big names yet at 135. This is a guy on the come up. This is a high-ranking contender that's on the come up. And Teofimo Lopez fought him and had a tough fight. It wasn't an easy fight. The guy, look at his dimensions. He's nearly 6 feet tall. Much longer arms. Okay? Quick hands. Good balance. Good legs. Alright? Good punch resistance. That guy he would have given anyone at 135 a tough fight. But according to Tim Bradley, who I have much respect for, the problem that I have with his commentary is that he was just nitpicking about anything that Teofimo Lopez was doing wrong or he felt could have been doing throughout the fight. I didn't hear him say any positive thing about Lopez the entire fight. I mean, Lopez was landing over the top big right hands all fight long. And Tim Bradley would never point that out, ever. Even the rounds that Lopez won clearly, Bradley did not mention anything positive throughout the whole fight. Like I said, listen, if you think the guy got exposed or you think he didn't perform well, all right, that's your opinion. That's what, we have our own eyes. We can call it whatever way we want to see it. But Tim Bradley, throughout the entire comment, and I really believe he had influence on a lot of people's thoughts on this fight. I do, because I didn't see anyone get exposed. The way I scored it, I had Lopez winning the fight 8 rounds to 4. You know, I think there was a couple of swing rounds in there, but I think a couple of the rounds that Nakatani won were swing rounds. I gave Nakatani the first 2 rounds, and I gave him 2 of the last 4 rounds, like those championship rounds. Gave him 2 of those. Yes, he didn't knock him out like he knocks everybody else out, but it doesn't matter. He still clearly won the fight to me. He clearly won the fight. I scored it 8-4, and I didn't think it was that hard to score. Now, while I'm listening to Bradley while I'm watching the fight, I'm listening to him. I'm like, dude. In the very beginning, I was like, okay, maybe I'm bugging, but from what I'm seeing, Lopez is winning the fight after the first 2 rounds, and Bradley is still going in on this dude, and I'm like, okay, maybe it's just me, but as the fight progressed, and I saw Lopez really starting to open up and counter at will, Bradley was still going in, and I'm like, okay, now I know it's not me. And once they started showing Andre Ward's card, I was like, okay, I see the same thing that Ward is seeing. I mean, we were off a couple of rounds, but Ward, who is not speaking as much as Bradley, is scoring the fight similar to how I see it. So what the hell is Tim Bradley talking about? And I know there's a lot of fans out there. I see some YouTube channels. I listened to Bruce Vane the other day, and he saw it. He made a video about it a couple of days ago, and I listened to the video, but I didn't watch the fight yet. But I knew when I was going to watch this fight, I was like, okay, I'm going to score the fight. You know, I'm gonna really focus on this fight when I watch it, because when people say that someone got robbed or someone was exposed, and I'm watching it later, I'm gonna really like pay attention and focus on the fight, and that's what I did. I watched the fight, and I'm saying to myself, I think Bruce Vane, out of all of the channels that I've listened to, was the only one I agree with. Everybody else is saying exposure. Even the media and reports and websites are saying that this guy was exposed. And I'm like, where was the exposure? Exposed? The kid is 21 years old. And you got grown men, 30, 40, 50-year-old men, sitting here saying that this kid was exposed? Exposed at 21? He was exposed. All right. This is a common thing in boxing. All right. You know, fighters that don't look good. Like, let's just say, for example, let's just keep it at 135 for now. 135, what fights have we gotten like recently? We saw Easter Jr. fighting Barthélemy, I think earlier this year or late last year. I don't remember. It was a little while ago. But that's a bad performance from both. They both look horrible in that fight. All right. I didn't see that in Lopez in this fight. What about Lomachenko, when you guys all were saying, oh, Pedraza gave him a really, really tough fight, and Tank Davis destroyed Pedraza, but because Lomachenko had a tough fight with Pedraza, he was exposed. He's overrated. You guys were just saying that last year. Didn't Jorge Linares just get knocked out in one round after he had dropped Vasyl Lomachenko? I mean, what if Nakatani gave Luke Campbell a tough fight? What if he gave Vasyl Lomachenko a tough fight? What if he fought Cormier and gave Cormier a tough fight? I mean, this guy is literally, he's unknown. But look at his dimensions. He could give anyone at 135, possibly give anyone at 135 a tough fight. But Lopez got to him first. That was no exposure. I saw that fight and I said, okay, I got to focus on this Nakatani guy now next time I see him fight, because now I know he has skills. That's all that fight did for me. Lopez still clearly won the fight. I liked his defense. You know, I thought he rolled punches well. You know, he turned a lot of those punches well. He didn't land. Nakatani didn't land as flush as Bradley was making it seem to me. You know, and I know Tim Bradley, listen, he's a Hall of Famer. He's a great fighter. I like him a lot. And you know, this is why I don't make videos based on what like boxers say. Like, if Lennox Lewis makes a comment about Wilder or Joshua, or Paulie Malignaggi goes in on Manny Pacquiao, or Mike Tyson says this about this guy, or Evander Holyfield says this, or Andre Ward even. I don't make videos about what commentators say or Hall of Famers say and their opinions on fighters. You know, I listen to them and that's it. It's a good opinion. It's just another opinion. That's it. They all have differences in opinions, right? I mean, look at Keith Thurman and Manny Pacquiao. We just got that fight. You got the Mayweather channel, where Jeff Mayweather goes around the whole gym and asks for predictions on fight, and you hear a different prediction with every fighter. And these are all real fighters, real trainers. They all have difference in opinion. It's not a big deal. Tim Bradley is just one opinion. I think he's a good commentator, but it's him, there's Roy Jones. I don't always agree with any of them. This is why I don't make videos saying, oh, well, this fighter said, who cares? Who gives a shit? It's just one opinion. I don't think this kid was exposed at all. I mean, he won the fight clearly to me. I don't know. You guys might disagree on that. I mean, but just because he didn't knock the guy out, he fought a good fighter, and I think that was the best fighter he's fought up to date. I think Nakatani's better than everyone else that Teofimo Lopez fought. And what if Lopez goes in there and fights Comey and ends up knocking him out? Then what? It's going to make Nakatani look much better. I'm not saying he's going to do that against Comey, but what I'm saying is, what if he goes in there, steps up again, and fights a guy with a more credible resume and knocks him out? Which could happen. What if Lopez knocks out a top 135 fighter? Then it makes Nakatani looks good because Nakatani had a very competitive fight against Lopez. So this is why I don't really jump the gun with this exposure and robberies. I don't do that. I mean, it's corny. Look, you guys are writing everybody that has a tough fight off. You write them right off. Every time a fighter has a tough fight, you write them off as if they're just no good anymore. Just like Keith Thurman. A lot of you guys are completely writing him off. You guys wrote him off because of the Lopez performance. And I said, all right, well, he had a bad round, but outside of that one round, he fought well. And he fought well against Manny Pacquiao. You know, and you guys are so quick to write him off. He should retire. What? I mean, if he wants to retire, that's cool. But he should just retire just like that. Now, if he feels like he wants to retire, good. I mean, you made your money, get out the game. But if he wants to continue fighting, I still would like to see him fight against a Spence or a Crawford or maybe a Porter rematch or whoever. Like, you guys write people off so quick. How do you write off a 21-year-old? What's wrong with you guys? I don't understand. I don't think he was exposed. I think he had a tough fight, and that's it. Whenever a fighter gets a tough fight or he loses a fight, you write him off, and you wonder why fighters cherry pick. This is why fighters cherry pick. That's why Tyson Fury is not getting in any tough fights in between his fights. You know why? Because he could fight Tom Schwartz and dominate him, and he's going to get crazy praise. He's going to get crazy praise. Meanwhile, you got Dillian White out here fighting Oscar Rivas in the world. Joshua fighting Andy Ruiz on a replacement match or as a replacement opponent. You got guys that are taking tougher fights in between their big fights. And you wonder why people cherry pick. Because look at how you're going to talk about him if he has a tough fight. He fought a tough fighter, a tough unknown fighter. You guys can't watch that fight and say that Nakatani would give a tough fight to the other top fighters in 135. If you don't believe that, then I don't know what to say. But you guys got to stop jumping the gun and writing fighters off for having tough fights every time they have a tough fight. Because everyone had a tough fight. Pacquiao, Floyd Mayweather. Everyone had a tough fight at some point. Everyone. Yes, Teofimo Lopez talks a lot of shit. And I think a lot of that has to do with it. People are wanting this guy to fail because he's talking crazy about Lomachenko and stuff, even though he hasn't proved anything. He's 21 years old. What else is he going to say? I mean, come on. Like, he's going to talk a lot of shit. He's a young kid. He's a kid. 21 years old, bro. Come on. Who cares if he talks a lot of shit? You know, I mean, he's 21. What do you want him to do? You know, some fighters are really humble. Some are not. As long as they back it up in the ring, you know, we saw that with Adrian Broner. Look what he did. He was talking a lot leading up to Maidana, and Maidana whooped his ass. You know? It is what it is. All right, so there was no exposure. It was a good competitive fight, but Lopez did his thing at the end of the day. He secured the win clearly to me, and that's that. And I'm not no fanboy of Teofimo Lopez. I'm just speaking what I see. All right, so that's my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and make sure you guys subscribe. Peace.